Picture Marcus at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday. He's sitting at his kitchen table, laptop glow on his face, refreshing his banking app like the number might magically change. It doesn't. $340. His mortgage is due in 6 days, $1,100. He scrolls through old Facebook photos to distract himself and stops on one of Derek, his old college roommate, smiling at a wedding in a t-shirt and jeans. No stress in his eyes. Marcus remembers that night. He wore a suit he bought on credit. Derek doesn't answer work emails anymore. Marcus just picked up a second shift. This is why hard work doesn't make you rich anymore, and what school failed to teach you isn't economics or algebra. It's the difference between surviving and quietly disappearing. My name is Mike, and I've spent too many nights trying to understand how two people can start at the same place, work just as hard, earn similar money, and end up in completely different realities. Not luck, not intelligence, something quieter, something invisible, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Back in 2005, Marcus and Derek graduated on the same day, and same university, same degree, same student loans. 6 weeks later, they both had jobs, both making just under $40,000 a year, both sleeping on air mattresses in empty apartments, identical starts. Marcus's parents took him out to dinner and gave him the advice most of us grow up with. Save first, spend second, stay out of debt, buy a house when you're ready, build equity, be responsible. Marcus wrote it down like it was a life manual. Derek got different advice, not from family, but from an older guy at work who drove a beat-up Camry and somehow owned 3 rental properties. The guy said something that sounded wrong at first. Debt isn't the problem. Debt is the tool. Derek didn't fully understand it, but he remembered it. That sentence quietly split their paths, and neither of them noticed. Marcus did exactly what he was told. He stayed disciplined. Same old Honda, cheap apartment, packed lunches, $400 automatically transferred into savings every month. By 2010, he had almost $30,000. It felt solid, safe, responsible. Like adulthood. So he bought a house. 3 bedrooms, good neighborhood, $25,000 down. His dad shook his hand at closing and said, "Now you're building wealth." Marcus believed him. But the house didn't build wealth. It consumed it. Every month he paid $1,100, and most of it simply vanished into interest, taxes, and insurance. Then came the surprises. A dead water heater, a leaking roof, an AC unit dying in August. Thousands at a time. The house kept asking for money. He could have rented a similar place for about the same cost with none of the stress, but rent felt like throwing money away. Ownership felt like progress, so he kept paying, kept fixing, kept believing. Derek, meanwhile, did something that looked reckless, like he only had $6,000 saved, nowhere near enough for a traditional house. Instead, he bought a small duplex using an FHA loan and almost nothing down. He moved into one side and rented the other. His tenant paid most of the mortgage. Derek's housing costs dropped to about $200 a month. It wasn't glamorous, old carpet, cheap cabinets, nothing impressive. But something invisible was happening. Someone else was buying the property for him, and then the 2009 crash hit. Everyone ran away from real estate. Derek bought another duplex while people were panicking. He borrowed against the first property to do it. Both units rented out. After expenses, the place paid him every month. Suddenly, he wasn't just reducing costs, he was generating income. Marcus thought Derek was drowning in debt. Derek felt like he was building a machine. Here's what nobody tells you about that moment. While Marcus was protecting his savings account, inflation was quietly eating it. Between 2010 and 2020, the dollar lost about 20% of its purchasing power. Marcus's $30,000 became the equivalent of $24,000 without him touching it. Just sitting there, shrinking. Derek's properties, on the other hand, appreciated. His rents went up, his mortgage stayed the same. One man was storing melting ice, the other owned a tree that kept growing fruit. Years passed, Marcus got raises, On paper, he was doing better, but everything else got more expensive too. Groceries, gas, insurance, repairs. He'd stand in the supermarket staring at prices that used to be lower and wonder why earning more didn't feel like progress. His savings account still showed $18,000, same number as years ago, but it didn't buy the same life anymore. Nothing dramatic happened, no crash, no warning, just quiet erosion. Derek's costs, on the other hand, barely changed. His mortgage stayed fixed, but his rental income kept climbing. Rents adjusted with reality, his payments didn't. Without realizing it, one man was storing numbers while the other owned things that adapted with time. That's when I started seeing it clearly. One of them was being drained. The other was being protected. Then 2020 happened. Marcus opened an email at work. Workforce reduction. 15 years gone in 3 paragraphs. Suddenly his entire life depended on a small pile of savings. Mortgage, utilities, insurance, food. Over $2,000 a month just to stand still. His safe money gave him 7 months, maybe 8. He spent nights at the kitchen table deciding which bill could wait. The stress wasn't just financial, it was existential. Every dollar spent felt like time running out. Derek got laid off too. Same industry, same month. But his phone kept buzzing with rent deposits, automatic. Money arriving whether he showed up or not. He didn't panic. He didn't rush to update his resume. He didn't have to. Marcus depended on his job to live. Derek owned things that worked for him. I kept replaying this in my head, trying to find the real difference. It wasn't effort, it wasn't intelligence, it was structure. Marcus protected money. Derek converted it. Marcus saved dollars. Derek turned dollars into assets that produced more dollars. Marcus built a life that required him to show up every day. Derek built one that kept running even when he didn't. Money sitting still slowly shrinks, but money converted into something productive starts multiplying. That's the part nobody explains. And here's the twist that makes this whole thing almost cruel. Marcus did everything right according to the rules he was taught. He was disciplined. He was responsible. He sacrificed. But the rules were written for a different economy, an economy where a house was affordable on one income, where savings accounts paid real interest, where pensions existed, where loyalty to a company meant security. That world is gone. But the advice stayed. Derek didn't ignore the rules because he was smarter. He questioned them because someone showed him a different game. And that's the part that haunts me. Most people never get that conversation. They follow instructions that made sense in 1985 and wonder why they're not working in 2025. The system didn't break, it just changed, and nobody updated the manual. Today, Marcus still works, still careful, still responsible, still one bad stretch away from fear. Derek isn't flashy or rich in the way social media shows wealth. He just owns things that quietly pay him every month. No alarms, no panic, just stability. Same start, same city, same intelligence. One followed the instructions, one questioned them. I used to think money rewarded hard work. It doesn't. It rewards ownership. It rewards structure. It rewards building things that don't depend on you. Once you see that, you start noticing it everywhere. Apartment buildings, parking lots, storage units, vending machines. Someone owns them. Someone collects quietly every day. That's the game. You can spend your life feeding it, or slowly build a small piece of it for yourself. Money doesn't care which you choose, but your future will. And the hardest part, the longer you wait, the more expensive the entry becomes. Derek started with $6,000 in 2008. That same duplex today, it would take $40,000. The window doesn't stay open forever, it just gets smaller. And one day you look up and realize you spent 20 years working harder instead of building smarter. Not because you were lazy, because nobody told you there was another way. Marcus is still at that kitchen table, still refreshing the app, still hoping the number changes. Derek is asleep. His phone is charging in the other room, and while he sleeps, the machine keeps running.